Welcome to Compliance Weekly. Today is the 17th of December, 2024. Um, let's start with walking our milestone board and I'll share screen. There we are. And wait, there we go. It was only one here, I think, probably because we need to jump to the previous one as well. Just switched milestones. Wait, am I on the right one? 17.8. We'll do it live. That didn't work.
There are two parameters in the URL.
Yeah. All right. Last one discussed was framework update. Highlight names. Yes. Next one was from Nate, drawer alignment fix. I think that was a slight UX update. The other one was related to then we have renamed database tables not assigned to anyone.
I think we closed this one
Yeah,
because we're not.
superseded. Yeah. Then we have an MVC for dashboard on Compliance Center. I don't think anyone's here to talk about that. Next one is on you, Josefa. Split controls into own table.
Yep. So this one was basically creating a blueprint for doing this. So I created an MR for adding the blueprint to the design doc that we have. It's merged. The actual implementation is being worked on by Hitesh, and I guess it's in review right now.
Next one is on Natalia. I think this was the UI for updating requirements. Yes. Next one on Nate projects level compliance center. That was a quality of life improvement for the nav. We just moved it where people would expect it from the other nav, so it's consistent. Next one on Natalia requirements section. Yeah, this was more UI related for creating and updating requirements. Compliance visibility frameworks controls and violation. I'm not sure what this one was about. Yes, metrics added. And the rest one is just meta. Okay. Next one was on Harsimar. Create GraphQL mutations, create crowd for requirements. Okay. Alrighty. Next we can go through our planning issue. First one on Arsimar and Natalia. Does anyone know?
I can talk about this.
Yeah.
So, as mentioned that the mutations for the requirements are done from backend
Yeah.
as well as so Josefa created this new ADR for separating the tables for requirement controls, and I am currently working on the database and model changes for the same. So we'll be having separate table for controls as well as the status for a control belonging to a framework, belonging to a project.
Alrighty. Next one is on me, compliance pipeline to security policy migration. That pop-up is still being worked on. That was quite a tricky bit in the specs where the UI would render outside of what the spec runner usually gets, and that was throwing me off for quite a while. Next one was compliance center improvements on Ilya. I'm not sure about the last update on that. Next one, consolidation of tables for streaming audit events. Does anyone know?
So I have
Yep.
some idea about it. Uh, so Andrew has completed the work for streaming to new destinations as well as started on the migrations to new of data to new tables. Uh, and now he's working on helpers
Nice.
for the models.
Yeah. Compliance group engineering and products metrics on me. There, another one has been closed. That we, I think, have like 66% on the OKR. And the next one is compliance database and cells update. And I think I just saw Arsamar added here. I'll just vocalize. Working on debugging the incorrect scopes in audit events, logging MRs merged. Next step is to identify places calling auditor and audit event service with incorrect scopes and fix them. Then we can queue migration to fix sorry, fix historical data. All right. Next on the list we have design and QA update. I didn't see any of that. And release post blockers. Does anyone have anything to discuss on those? Although we skipped that, it's not the final week of the mic, so never mind. Discussions. I think Josefa, you posted.
Yep. So this was an incident that was created when we uh, migrated from audit event service to using the new GitLab auditor for the runner classes. I reviewed these MRs. I mean, overall they looked fine, but internally it crashed somewhere in the middle. We were not getting the. I mean, it was expecting the impersonated to be false, but the method was not defined in the actual class, so that's why it was failing. This caused to an issue because when people were trying to create the runners, it was breaking for them, and we were receiving exceptions 5xx. This is why the incident was created. We I mean, we checked the usual paths for creating runners and it was working fine. But I mean, there might be some other scenarios which, to be honest, I was not aware of. I don't have like enough domain expertise for verify and hence couldn't verify all of the runner scenarios. So as a couple of corrective actions, they have also mentioned adding new end-to-end tests or maybe integration tests for covering as much use case as possible for runners. Had there been tests, probably this would have not occurred in the first place. We would have catched that in the pipeline as well.
Yeah.
The second thing which I think from our side is like obviously we cannot have domain expertise for everything, so it's kind of impossible to expect any compliance engineer to be 100% sure like this won't break, and relying on pipeline is the best thing for us. The only thing I see is I mean, the only good outcome out of this incident I see is that we were logging audit events synchronously with the with the action, which we're doing almost everywhere, and not recording
Yeah.
audit events in the background. But I guess there was a discussion previously where people were asking if we can do the recording of audit events in the background. So basically what will happen then in that case is you hit an endpoint and you create the runner or whatever, and then you log the audit event in a background Sidekick worker.
Yeah.
In this case, what would have happened is the runners gets created successfully, but the audit event would fail, like the logging of the audit event would fail. And we would probably not know like this until a couple of at least a week when we see the error budgets to break, or probably proactively we check the alerts that we get on our channel.
Yeah.
But even in that case, like even if we miss a couple of such events, to me it looks more of a security issue. Like you're missing some things which should have been audited in the first place. So you allowed creating a new runner token, but there was no corresponding audit event to it. However, in this case, like since the entire request failed, even the runner creation of the runner failed itself. So this was a good thing for us. And now I want to come back and like, do we really want to log those things in the background, like as people are suggesting us, like other people, other folks from because I mean, yes, it adds some latency to their APIs. Probably if recording a new audit event takes a couple of milliseconds, probably they can save on that if they use background jobs. But in case like something like this happens where we are unable to record audit events for some reason, but in that case, would this be considered a security issue? And then probably this would come to us in that case then, because this would be like something happened and you never audited that. And then there's almost, I mean, it's almost impossible to track the events that have happened, and then you proactive like create those using a migration or something. So it's very difficult. So like after this incident, I'm more inclined towards keeping the audit events as it is, like having them in sync with the action that is being performed. So if auditing fails, the action fails, that's okay. We'll fix the action, fix the auditing as well. But having these like fail silently doesn't sound
That
good
would
to me.
sort of imply that we audit before the action happens, though, because you could just as well have the action succeed and the audit fail after it.
Yep, and I'm not sure how the runners, but we usually do this thing itself, like
Yeah.
unless the record is saved in the database. But I'm not sure like where the runners, like how it failed for the runners. Probably they get a response back from the API,
Yeah, I
which
think
they
this.
might be
Yeah.
using. And so in this case, like the runners might have been created in the database, but they were not getting the exact token that they wanted. So
Yeah.
because of 500 was thrown to the user, so they kept retrying on creating new runners, which got created in the database, but they never got the runner registration token with them.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. But yeah, this could be true for other actions where the auditing fails, but I mean the action completes successfully.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, even this is not foolproof then. Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, unless we always try to run both in a single transaction. I don't think we'll have final. Yeah, we won't fix that hole through the audit that might fail. I think even if we log it in the background, it just depends on how we log it in the background. We could just as well have like a persistent queue in the database that needs to be processed, so that queue gets reduced. And that way you would, even if you don't audit it, you would see the queue of the audit events that still need to be created.
Yeah, and then we have like we create retry mechanisms on that, so that in case
Yeah.
these things happen, we still have those, and we don't lose the event.
Yeah.
Yep. And on the other hand, like it's unusual for us to refactor the core audit logic, at least. I know we're doing now because of the splitting of tables and everything, but
Yeah.
this was the first case we were like moving away from audit event service to the new auditor. But yeah, I mean, it's technically possible to have these kind of things. So not sure what other things we as a compliance group should enforce or create checks which would prevent these incidents.
Yeah.
And I guess you're right, because there were some of the customers who had, I think they have a limit on the number of runners you can create,
Yeah.
probably, and that's what they hit, because they were retrying the creation of the runners because they were not getting the token. Yep.
Yeah. There was some cleanup effort in from
Yes.
infra
Yes.
to clear those out. Yeah. All right. And we'll stop recording then. Uh, 2 submenus later.